Good morning. We are going to be learning Perokim and Rambam that I'm sure there's a lot been said about already. However, we're going to deal with an issue that is very common, obviously, at least once a month, and very often twice a month, except for 1 month of the year, where we don't do this, is this hallel and Rosh Chodesh. Now, as an introduction, we all know that there are two types of hallels that we say. There's what we call the whole hallel and what we call half a hallel. It's not really half a hallel, but it's hallel b'dilug, a skipped hallel. So it's a fascinating halacha. And the fascinating part of it is the various opinions how to do it. And the most fascinating of all opinions is the Rambam, who has his own take on Rosh Chodesh, on the hallel of Rosh Chodesh. And I want to discuss that in today's shiur. Now, this Rambam is in Hilchis. It's really Hilchis Chanukah, but it's called Hilchis Megillah v'Chanukah because the first couple of Perokim are Megillah, then goes Chanukah. And in the Halacha of Chanukah, the Rambam brings the din of saying hallel. That's the where he focuses on hallel in Chanukah. Interestingly, he didn't mention saying hallel earlier regarding Shmini Atzeres, but this is where he really talks about the whole concept of hallel when you say it during the year. Now, why he waited for here, when really what we're dealing with the Rabbanon, when he could have, in a yant of the Rabbanon, that is, the Rambam holds the whole halacha of hallel of the Rabbanon. But, and then not earlier on when he could have discussed it just as well. I don't have the answer right now. I have said Shiur on the concept that may answer that question. So anyhow, the Rambam in Perek Gimel Halacha Hey, talking about Chanukah, he says every day you make of the 8 days, you finish Goimrim es hallel, and you make a bracha Ligmoir es hallel, not the way we do Likrei es hallel. The Rambam has a bracha Ligmoir, and that is whether you're an individual or whether you're a congregation, it doesn't matter. And here he goes into his famous line, which we're not going to get into, and what he means and what he says. I don't know if I've given ever a shiur on this in this format, but I've written about it. This is one of the complexing Rambams, to say the least. Even though hallel is a mitzvah to receive from the Rabbanan, you make a bracha on it, as it says, just like you make a bracha on Megillah and Erev. Now, why would you be any different than Megillah and Erev? And why do we have to compare it to anything else? You say the same reason that Megillah and Erev has a bracha, this has a bracha. A discussion for itself, not in our current today's discussion. But our focus is on Halacha Zayin. But before we get to Halacha Zayin, he makes a statement that not only even though we just said before, not only is the hallel of Chanukah because you'll say, well, listen, it's a Rabbanic Yom Tov. It didn't happen at the time of the Torah. That you finish the hallel. And then he goes through 18 days that you finish hallel. He makes a list for them. He doesn't make a list yet. No, I'm sorry. The list will be in Halacha Zayin. Now, Halacha Zayin, he says that here he makes a list of them, and then Halacha Zayin adds to the list that there are also the days in Chutz La'aretz the second day of Yontif. And there you also say Ol Hallel. So in Eretz Yisrael, it's 18 days. Where you make 2 days Yontif, it's 21 days that you say full whole Hallel. Goimrim Asal. And here comes Rosh Chodesh. Avol Rosh Chodesh. Kriyas Hallel minhag ve'ein mitzvah. It's only a minhag. U'minhag zeh b'tzibur. This minhag is only in Tzibur. Vicha kairim bediluk. In Tzibur you read it bediluk. In other words, it's obvious since it's a minhag, we lane it differently. And you don't make a bracha. You don't make a bracha on a minhag. Now, what bracha did he want you to make? You want you to make the bracha ligmar? Can't do that. Oh, maybe you could. We'll talk about it. The yachid la yikra klal. However, a yachid don't say hallel if you're a yachid on Rosh Chodesh. This is a chiddush of the Rambam. And here goes, based on a Gemara, the Rambam adds. The Rambam is understanding this all in the Gemara, which we're going to, in Megillah, we're going to see it. Tinus, I'm sorry, let's see. V'im hischil yashlim. If he began, finish. Yashlim. Now, remember, we're saying a hallel that's not a whole hallel. Yashlim. Finish that hallel. Now, this is a strange halacha going on. We'll see through the Mefarshim about it very strongly by this halacha. Why? Why do you have to finish? He's not saying a bracha. Do what you want. And then he goes on. Okay. Now that's not really our discussion. Now the Ravid takes issue with this minhag not making a bracha. And then he takes issue with this statement that that makes no sense what he's saying. He should do whatever he wants. He doesn't have to do anything. Now, dilug means by us. We skip lailanu and we skip ahafti, right? Now, the Rambam also skips something else. He skips hallelu Hashem kol goyim, and he starts min hameitzer. In other words, so there are 3 dilugim according to the Rambam, which is an interesting thing, but that's his minhag. Then he says one more halacha, which really causes different opinions what he means. But if he means what others say, then it's a problem. What happens on the days we don't finish hallel? You're in shul, you're not saying a bracha. Somebody comes over to you, gives you a chashuv yid, comes over, gives you shalom aleichem. In the middle, are you allowed to stop and answer him? Okay, he says, yeah. Between Perokim, you can. If you're middle of ma'oshiv, don't answer him. However, then he said, that's the day. I'm sorry. That's the days where you're going with mahalo. You made a bracha. What about the days that you didn't make a bracha, which is b'diluk? Then you can be middle of answer. You can even stop middle of a perik, middle of ma'osh. The Maggid Mishnah takes that to mean you can stop to read the newspaper. He doesn't say that, but I mean, you can do anything you want. Now, that's not the way the Shulchan Aruch understands him, it seems. The way it's in Shulchan Aruch, and not the way the Pri Chodesh understands. The Pri Chodesh says, of course, you can't just stop for anything. In the middle of saying hallel. Why is this different than in the middle of Tillim if you have to stop to say you can say anything? No. It's not just Tillim. Why? Okay. So there's a number of it. Just I want to go through so we know how halacha is formulated. The Gemara in Tinus makes the statement: Yochid lo yaschil v'im hischil goymer. Now the Rambam, we know, takes it literally. Don't say it. A yochid don't say it. In hischul goyim. Now remember, the Rambam holds that there's no bracha on hallel and Rosh Chodesh. This is Rosh Chodesh. Rashi learns, ain't it tzarich l'haskell. You don't have to. But if you want, read it without a bracha and skip. Ben Hananel learns, don't say it with a bracha. But if you did, you finish the whole bracha. You say likrei. If you said likrei as a hallel, finish up. But it's not a chiyuv. You don't have to. Another Rishi Sheifa Shloma says, don't say a bracha in the beginning. If you did, don't say a bracha at the end. Never say the bracha at the end. The Rabbi says the opposite. Don't start with a bracha. If you said a bracha in the beginning, you must say a bracha at the end. Taisa says this Gemara is not talking about Chodesh. It's talking about a miracle that happens to people, not to all the Klal Yisrael, to a city, to a community. As long as not all the Klal Yisrael, you consider a yochid. And he says, so they shouldn't say the whole hallel. If they shouldn't say it. If they say it, they have to finish it. Says Taisus there basically there have been a time Rosh Chodesh, the yochid is supposed to say a bracha in the beginning and end. That's not what we're talking about. Those are the various shittas. It's incredible the diversity of opinion that we have in amongst the Rishonim. Now, as we said, the Rambam has a new shitta. No bracha. Don't say it at all. Not you don't have to say it. Don't say it at all. And if you start it, finish. Now that is the hardest shit to understand. First of all, what do you care that a yochid says it? Let him read out. He wants to say out. Let him say out. Don't say it. Why not? Okay. And especially that there's no bracha. Even the tzibah has no bracha. What do you care? So on that, the Pri Chodesh says, there's a Gemara that you're not allowed to say hallel every day. And also says if somebody says it certain out of the right time, is nekem and very strong expressions. You shouldn't be saying hallel every day. Why? I'm not getting into it now. It should be discussed, but we don't have that time for it. So they want to say that's why the Rambam holds like that. The only problem with that is that the Rambam never brings this halacha anywhere that you're not supposed to say hallel every day. So it could be he doesn't bring it because it's not halacha, it's an Indian. But maybe here's where he's mentioning it. I don't know. Okay, I'll accept that, but we'll see. We perhaps with what we're going to say, you don't have to come on that. He says, "Im hischel yashlim." It's mashlim. There's an Indian between mashlim, and it sounds like you should. Why? Now, as we said, when it says that you're allowed to stop, we said that there's a machlekes and understanding that you have the Magid Mishnah, gets the Mishnah wavers on it a little, but he explains the Magid Mishnah. The Pri Chodesh says no, there's no such thing that you can just stop. Why not? The time that the Magid Mishnah says there's no bracha, do what you want. Then there's another issue, and it's brought out. There's excuses for it, but the bottom line is, why does it say ligmar? Why the bracha ligmar? Why not likrei? The way we say it. Why do we create a new lush? Now, okay, they say ligmar means to read, but read means to read for sure. Definitely reading means to read. You're going to tell me ligmar also means to read. Now, according to other opinions, is when we say whole hallel, say ligmar. When you say what we call half hallel, say likrei. Okay? But the Rambam doesn't say you may say anything when we're doing part of hallel, or medalgin. So what do we have to say? Now, according again, why do we do this dilug? So the reason is because the Shulchan brings that leheker, that's a hecker. But the Rambam, you not make a bracha. What do we need a hecker for? Okay. He writes, interesting lush. Yochid should not say whatever hischel yashlim. What do you mean yashlim? And then he writes, why does he add this word yashlim? He should have written im hischel yikra bedilu kederech shekayim b'tzibur. Why does yashlim? You're not being mashlim. You're skipping. It's not a full hallel. Okay, one more issue, and we'll get into the explanation of what I think might be an answer to the Rambam. In Sefer HaMitzvahs, we know the Rambam discusses in Shirish Aleph, in his introduction to Sefer HaMitzvahs, which is 14 chapters, 14 shroshim. One of the discussions Rambam takes issue with is the Bahag holds that hallel is min HaTorah. I'm sorry. And the Rambam argues, and this is what he says. How could it be that what David HaMelech wrote years later is min HaTorah? And that's what he says in Chanukah, as we just read. Zog the Ramban, I don't understand you. Tefillah Rambam holds min HaTorah. The Nusach Tefillah is midrabanan. So say me, yeah, the Nusach midrabanan. This is an important point. Yeah, other questions. Okay. So I want to suggest, as we said, we don't find that the Rambam has any capade of saying hallel. I think that the side of the Rambam is, and that's why he argues with the Bag, that hallel is not just to sing or to say praises to Hashem. There is a portion of Tilim called hallel that David HaMelech established as a means to thank Hashem for miracles and to express the greatness of the Mayadim, the holidays. That's why the Rambam stresses, says that the bracha holds of the bracha is ligmoira hallel, because it's not just to thank Hashem. That would be likra, to thank God, to say that to read the things of Hashem. No, it's that say this. It's to finish this IYUN. And that's what he's claiming. That's what he's answering the Ramban's question when he doesn't answer that. He preempts the Ramban's question by saying, how can what David HaMelech wrote be, not because David HaMelech wrote it. The Ramban says maybe Moshe said it and David wrote it. No, it doesn't matter. It's the mitzvah of hallel. The takon of hallel is this chepza of hallel that's in Tilim. So it's not like davening where there's a nusach. This is the nusach. This is the mitzvah of this saying these kapitla. Yeah, that's the chefts of hallel. Now, here's a catch. When we're medalek, so it's clear from the Rambam, lefichach, since it's a minig, we don't want it to be that chefts of hallel on one hand, right? We don't want it to be the chefts of hallel. You can't do that chefts of hallel. It's a minig. You're not doing you gotta separate. The fact that I don't make a bracha is good a hecker for the guy, but it's not a hecker in the chefts of hallel. But there is a whole hallel here too, in some aspect. Why do we skip those parts only? I mean, we can find other things. The Rambam said there's other menhagim, but skip it. Say some of the time. Skip Ma'ashim. Very good. It's a nice song. I don't know what. Sagt the Rambam. Sagt the Eliyahu Rabbi. Why are you skipping this? Listen to this. Because Loi Lanu and Zecharanu, Hashem Zecharanu, are similar. They basically have most in Yonam HaShavim. Or Hafti Ma'oshiv Shavas. Now, he doesn't talk about the Rambam's addition, but I think it can be added that Halus Hashem Kol Goyim and Hoidu is shoved to what Minam Eitzer has. There's a lot of the similar concept. So Ulai Pshat is that we're talking about Dalig, but we're being mashlim the halalos. And therefore, the Rambam is not bothered by the fact, how can I say Ligmoir Hallel on that? I would have been able to say it, except it's a minig. There's a Goimrim. And that's why he writes Yashlim, the Yikra B'dilu Kadesh answer. Yashlim, you are finishing Hallel. You're not finishing it in the ultimate halachic form, but there is a finishing there. And therefore, since there is somewhat of a finishing of Hallel, there's a din of hefsek too. He's mashlut, and therefore you got to say the whole thing. There's halachas of hefsek, and then right, Magamish is time. How can it be? Yeah, there's room for hefsek. Just a note, on a side point, and there is a difference between. The Gemara says that Hallel you can't say every day. Sukkah de Zimri you could. Okay, we do. So the Mashas is a beautiful word. And I think this is what he means. Hallel is made for Nisim, for changing situations, not the usual, not the Tmidim Kisidram, as we call it. That's why you say it on a Moed, with a change, a new Moed, a different Moed. And for Nisim, for miracles. Whereas Psukkah Zim is about the daily routine of the Eibush, how the world runs on a daily basis. And that's to thank Hashem for that. I believe that Pshat in the Mashah, he doesn't say these words exactly, but that's the idea. Anyway, have a great day. Atzlocher Rabba, Umuflaga. Seid gesund, stark.